venture is more in the green area. So I keep bees, I buy vacant lots from the Shelby County Land Bank, and sell produce at farmers markets. I also make soap and sell honey. So kind of just answering these questions, how'd you get to know you're ready to start your business? My business kind of got started more from a lifestyle change. So, I was like driving a regular car and living, I guess you might say, a regular life. But I started to, once the Iraq War happened back in, when was that? Around 05, 06, I was done with petroleum. I'm done with gas. So I switched to diesel and I started making biodiesel. And that was just for my own, lifestyle. As a result, I ended up having this glycerin byproduct. And it's a very clean chemical process. It's just some biochemistry, basically. It's 3 ingredients. And I got this glycerin byproduct, and as I researched more, I'm a math teacher also, by the way, so I kind of have a science background, math and science background. And I was able to make this soap, right? And the soap is primarily the glycerin, right? And glycerin is great for the hair, great for the skin. And so I was getting gallons upon gallons upon gallons of this glycerin and thinking, well, what can I do with this? So being the main ingredient of this soap, my margin is extremely wide, so my cost is very low. When I started getting into beekeeping also as a part of a lifestyle change, because we hear about what bees are struggling, right? There's some problems in agriculture in general anyway, with conventional agriculture. That the system and those that are enriching themselves on it are not going to change. They're deeply entrenched in this conventional way, and it's killing us, to tell you the truth, right? But let's set that aside for a minute. So I started beekeeping also, and bees are excellent producers, and that's something as a teacher also that I stress to students. You want to be more producers than consumers, right? So as a producer, a bee makes many products, even some that you all probably don't know about. So there's the honey itself, that's the one that everybody knows. Second would be the wax, which I add to the soap, right? A little bit of honey and a little bit of beeswax in the soap to enrich it with the glycerin. Then bees also make pollen, but they don't make pollen, but they harvest pollen, and that's a high nutrient dense food that people are in high demand for, especially if you're going to be have a healthy lifestyle. And then something else called propolis, which is less known, and I won't really talk about that so much, but I'd encourage people to look into it. It's kind of a caulking material that the bees use to basically weatherproof whatever they lived in, and it comes from tree sap. So these are all natural ingredients, not like the caulk that was used here that comes from some petrol byproduct that we're all inhaling day in and day out. It slowly builds up in us, and we wonder why we have cancer years later. We'll set that aside, though. So the other thing that I do is I pick up these vacant lots, I can mention, from the Shelby County Land Bank, and I just bought 2/3 of an acre just the other day for $250. Okay, now for city land, for agriculture land, like out in the country, 2/3 of an acre is going to be about $6,000 to $8,000. Okay, I bought it for $250. In the city, it's not going to be too much cheaper, but $250. Okay, so there's that, and then I pick up vegetable scraps from restaurants to fertilize. So I make compost out of vegetable waste. So I'm getting stuff from like St. Jude, from the University of Memphis, from restaurants like. How many of you guys have heard of Project Green Fork? Anybody? So Project Green Fork is a nonprofit that I work closely with. Margot McNeely is the executive director. But she basically greens locally owned restaurants. So she's not going to talk to, Apple Fleas or Smackdonald's or whatever. She's just going to talk to the locally owned restaurants, right? So which, the thing is that these vegetable scraps are pre-consumer, right? So they're sorted out in-house, so that cuts on my labor. I'm not getting, random objects, potato peelers or knives or whatever, right? I'm getting what I want. So I compost that large scale and I fertilize it. So I'm getting that for free. I'm getting a lot of this stuff basically for free. It's virtually free. So, I guess what I would stress is just, try to look at being look for opportunities in changing of a lifestyle. That's I guess where I got started. Number 2, what skills did you already have that were useful in starting and are still useful today? So I don't have any business background. My background, like I said, academically is math and science. And to me, it really gave me the opportunity to apply these skills. And that's something that I would teach in high school also, is let's find a way to use this, because I hated algebra 2, right? Algebra 2 is awful. I hate teaching algebra 2. So you got to really try to make this stuff applicable to these students. I mean, that's where you get the buy-in anyway from anybody, right? I mean, what good is it? Why would I give you a Dooley Whopper if you can't use a Dooley Whopper? Why would you buy a Dooley Whopper from me if you can't use a Dooley Whopper, right? So trying to get the buy-in from young people. But that's it. I mean, this is all chemistry and science and math. I mean, I can't stress it enough. It gets overlooked. I'm not much of a networker. I'm not much for marketing. I mean, I came here, dressed like a pumpkin. Okay, number 3, what major business tool have you learned as a business owner you knew very little about before? I mean, so my partner, Stephanie, over here, who's trying to hide out, look inconspicuous, she helps me out with a lot of that stuff because, like I said, that is where I'm lacking personally. I mean, I understand how face space helps marketing and stuff like that, but it doesn't do, I don't know, it doesn't actually get the job done. So I'm more, like I said, just stressed being a producer. I can't do much of a hustle, as far as a verbal or visual hustle, So something else, just to show real quick, to keep my margins low on the soap, I package it with these cardboard boxes. Okay, well, how much does this cost me? Basically nothing. I pick this up from liquor stores, right, that pitch their boxes out, and I have a die that I bought. I bought, an industrial piece of equipment, and I punch it out. And I just take a free piece of a free input, punch it out, put in a little effort. Now, I know, it's not really free because I'm having to do my labor and spend my time, that type of thing, but at least the material is free, and it's being thrown out. So what I would recommend to everyone is find out what's being considered waste and find out how to turn it into treasure, because in this system that we have now, there is a lot of waste. There is a lot of waste going on. So if you can find a way to get that waste organized and find a purpose for it, repackage it, repurpose it, that's where you want to go. Low entry, low cost, get that high margin, right? I sell these bars of soap for $3. They're about 3 to 4 ounce bars. I hand cut them, right? Everybody wants hand cut, right? Sounds nice. And they're handmade, right? Right, I sell them for $3. Most soap makers, when you talk to them, they're selling it for like $5, $7. That's because their margins are very narrow. They're having to buy all this stuff. They buy the oils, they buy the fancy little pretty colors and stuff. And to tell you the truth, that soap is not very good for you anyway, because those oils lay on the skin. They don't allow the skin to breathe. Glycerin, to imagine it, it's kind of like a partially digested oil. And that might sound kind of disgusting, but it's a chemical digestion. So I'm not swallowing it and spitting it back up for you guys. It's a chemical digestion, so it breaks it down so that the skin can easily absorb it, right? And like I said, the other ingredients that I add, the honey, the beeswax, I use organic essential oils. That's really my only cost, is the scent, the organic essential oils. Those other soap makers, where they're pretty and swirly, they're using chemical scents, right, to trick your nose. What's not being tricked is the rest of your body, right, when they get those petrol byproducts in them, and they store up because they don't, the body's like, what do you do with this? I can't digest this. What are you sending us? So it stores it, it builds up, then you got your health issues. That's it.
You can say that. I just want to say